Hi! Today I'm going to talk about seed organization and seed storage. Here are 3 of my seed containers. These I use for seeds that are in the original packaging that I bought. And so this will kind of be the first part, going through how I organize seeds when I buy them. And then the second part, I'll talk about how I store seeds that I save. And the third part, I'll talk about how I use the seeds, how I take them out of their containers and bring them to the places where I need to plant them. Or if I'm planting them inside, how I separate them out for when I'm planting them inside. So let's start with these. These containers I bought from, I think it was from Menards, which is like a home improvement store in our area. And I think they were around $5 each. I'm gonna look it up and put a screenshot here so you can see what they are and what size they are. And they work pretty well for most seed packages. If I get a seed package that's a little bit taller, I'll usually just kind of push it down or fold it down or put it on the side. If I get seeds that are a little bit thicker, like peas and beans, I'll make a little extra room, or sometimes I'll tuck them back here on the side. So I'm gonna go through them a little bit. These are exactly how they look today. I didn't go through and tidy them. I'm planting seeds inside right now, so I'm going in these almost daily and picking seeds out. So they're you know, getting a lot of work right now. And my personal preference is to store them. So this one is all flowers, which I'm about ready to get another one because I'm outgrowing this. And then these 2 are all edibles. And they're just in alphabetical order. You can see here it starts with asparagus. So that goes all the way through to O, and then O starts here with okra. And that's how I sort the seeds. And then, you know, just alphabetically within here, I sort them by category. Not every single variety is alphabetically sorted, so you know the carrots are just kind of all grouped together. I don't necessarily alphabetize each variety. Okay, and then back in the back of the first box of edible seeds, I have a section called greens. And I don't really totally alphabetize that either. I just know that when I'm looking for greens, lettuce, mustard, collards, Asian greens, anything like that, I put that back there because to me they all kind of need the same treatment, and so I can just find them all in that spot. And then on the side, I have some kind of specialty stuff or stuff I've worked on, or like a seed package that's kind of rough and I don't want it, like that one's kind of coming apart. I don't want it to spill everywhere, so I have it in a separate envelope here. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I also use blue painter's tape to seal seed envelopes that I've opened so that I can open and close them and reseal them. It works really easy. And yeah, that's about it for this container. And let me show you the other edible container, and then we'll go on to the flowers. Make sure I got the right one. Yeah, so this is the other edible container. So this starts at O for okra. And then, yeah, so this isn't perfectly organized. I've got these I just planted yesterday, so they're still on the side. I have to put them back in. Those are some onion seeds. I have a pencil in here because sometimes I need that, but you know, it's not perfectly clean. And then the little divider, and back here I have the all my pea seeds because they're pretty thick. And if I put them in this way, it makes everything flop over or crowd together. So it fits really well there. You know, it gives a little extra space on the side when you put the seed packets in. So it works pretty well to have the peas there. And then, where's the front? There's the front. And then the back here, I have a section, if I can find the start of it, that is for herbs. So I just have a little divider there that says herbs. And back here, all the herbs alphabetically. And that's how I do. Here. And that's how I do my edible seed packets. And for me, that works because I really like looking through my seeds. So if I have to thumb through a few seed packets to find what I'm looking for, I'm okay with that. So I know some people plant their seeds by when they need to be sown, or type of seed into a separate container. I do most of that on spreadsheets, which I can show in another video. And so they're kind of like my toys, so I like looking through them. I don't mind having to go through a few packages before I find what I'm looking for. It makes me happy. Now for the flower seeds, I'm about ready to get a new box. As you can see, the side parts are getting pretty full. And it's mostly with perennial seeds. I've been getting a lot more perennial flower seeds lately. So in the front here is the perennial flowers, and then I have the annual flowers take up most of this. So as you can see, this here is perennial flowers and this here is annual flowers, all by alphabetized, that's the word. And so I think I'm gonna get another container and separate out perennials and annuals, just because I've gotten so many more, and to me that makes sense. And yeah, so like these seed packets that are kind of too tall for these, I just cut them and fold them down and put the blue tape on, and you know, it pretty much sits in there. You can see it doesn't really you know, push on the it doesn't really go above the top level here. So yeah, that's how I organize the seeds that are still in the packaging that I bought them in. And these all stack really nicely on top of each other. And if I really want to, I can bring these out into the garden. You know, just make sure I try to keep them covered, keep the cover on when I'm not using them. And the other part I like is that if you kind of shake them around, you know, the seeds don't really go anywhere. In a previous few years ago, I kept the seeds, I stored them like flat, stacked on top of each other, and I would have so many random little seeds in the bottom of the container. So this one I like. I really don't get any random seeds in the bottom, and they hold pretty still when they're bounced around. And it's, you know, I can grip it with one hand. It's not too big. It's easy to just work with one thing at a time. And yeah, so these are these containers. Now on to the sort of messier, you know, not quite as organized situation with the saved seeds. So these are my saved seeds. And like I said, they're a little bit messier, not quite as organized in here. They're still in containers, and you know, they're easy to store, but within the containers it gets a little messy. So these are probably the ones that are in the best sort of organization, and they're really not that organized. So these are all saved seeds that I've put into envelopes and put blue tape on to keep them sealed, and they're all labeled, and they fit in here okay. It's not the best. It's kind of bunched up a bit, so I might take these out of here and organize them better in these bigger containers, and then use this container for the perennial flower seeds, because I was saying I need to split those out. But for now, this is saved seeds, and you can see it's, you know, years worth. This is from 2017. It's 2020 now, or it's 2021 now. And so, yeah, I just kind of keep them in there. I really, really love seed saving, so I have tons and tons and keep them for years. So, yeah, I probably need to work on a little bit better system as my seed saving collection is growing. Then these are the other saved seeds that are either in brown bags or Ziploc bags, you know, and they're really not well organized. I use them all the time, you know, and I'm taking seeds out of them, but they don't really have a system. I have to really dig through it, and they're not sealed the best in these brown bags. I use the brown bags for the ones I have a lot of that just don't really fit well into the Ziploc bags or the envelopes. But yeah, it's you can see there's a ton of envelopes here. Those are probably newer ones from this year. It's not ideal, and I'm not totally sure how to get a system where if sometimes I only have a few seeds that are, you know, like a small seed packet's worth of seeds, and sometimes I have a whole bag worth. Like these are all, like, you know, several hundred pumpkin seeds. Yeah, this is a work in progress. For now, it's okay. I can access them. They're it's closed up, so they're not going anywhere, but it's not the easiest to access. It's not the easiest to sort through them every single time. And if I am going to keep saving more and more seeds, I need to get a better system. This size container will probably work. I can probably find something that's, you know, maybe wide and a little bit thicker, that's more uniform for all of them. I do like having the envelopes, but not all of them fit in that. So yeah, it's a work in progress as I get more and more saved seeds. But for now, this works. This is like the bulk of my seed saving. And then my third seed saving box is sort of my work in progress box. So if you can see, it's like right off of the plant. So these are ones I collected this year, and I'm working through them. So they need to be separated out, cleaned up, things like, so you can see it still has all of the, you know, stuff that needs to be sorted out, the petals and the leaves and the stems and things like that. So these are just collected in 2020 at the end of the season. And then, you know, over the winter I go through and sort through them. But for now I put them in this temporary seed sorting container. Otherwise they would be all over the house. And some are while I'm working on them. You know, I have them on the couch or on the table while I work through a collection of seeds. Yeah, like that. That's got like full stems on it and everything. But this helps because then I can just go right to this and pick out a bag and start working through it. And then once I get just the seeds, separate it, and I don't have any more leaves or stems or anything like that, then I can put them into the envelopes or the labeled bags to store them permanently. So far I've gone through how I store seeds that are still in their original seed packet, and then I went through how I store seeds that I'm seed saving, and now I'm going to talk about this temporary storage that I use. And this container I use to keep seeds that I'm sort of currently working on. So for example, my friend just gifted me these seeds, and I need to put them in my spreadsheet before I organize them into the seed container. And so I just haven't done that yet. So I have them in here. Basically this is sort of my current sort of portfolio, current work for seeds that I need to do. Some of these other ones are just, I want to get them planted soon. So I have them in here to remind myself of that. And then there's a few in here where I need to do a little more research on them. Yeah, sometimes I'll Google them and figure out how to grow them. I'll check out YouTube videos on how to grow them. I think it was just yesterday, a couple days ago, I was reading about how to grow harebell because I wasn't having luck with it. So I have this in here just kind of like, hey, that's a seed that I'm really focused on right now. And then sometimes it's just, okay, I planted them and they're growing well, so now I can put them back and not have them in here. This works for when I'm ready to plant. I can just take this right out into the garden. So I'll grab the seeds I want to plant and put them in here and take this out to the garden. So I just have what I need, and then I can bring them back home. So this is kind of the, you know, like the cart in the library where you check books in and out. You know, this is kind of where they go in between somebody having them and going back on the shelf. So this is just temporary storage, and it changes depending on what I'm working on. So yeah, these are, I don't think I can hold up everything at once, but so that's 2 containers there, 2 more big containers here, and then these 3, let me do it the other way, these 3 containers here. So I have a total of 5, 6, 7 seed containers that I work with, and this is a system that works for me. I think the biggest tip for how you organize your seeds is thinking about how you work, you know, and thinking about how you feel about seeds. For me, seeds are just a passion, and I love looking through them and I arrange them in a way that makes me happy to go through and find them. If you see seeds as just a very utilitarian object that you want to just separate and by month or when you need to plant it, and you don't really want to think about any other seeds except the ones that you need to be focused on for that month or that week, then you might organize your seeds a bit differently. If you're not that into seed saving, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, it's fantastic, but you obviously wouldn't have all the containers with saved seeds, and you could stick to just the basic containers with the seeds in the packets already. Maybe this type of system doesn't work for you. Maybe this is a little too cluttered for your day-to-day work, so that might be something that you want to organize a little bit better into like categories of research and planting now and planting soon or keeping an eye on. Those are just some ideas. The biggest thing I think is having clear containers is really important because you can visually see what's in them. I think you can label them too, that's helpful, but for me, looking at that, I can see quite a few seed packets and see what I'm looking for pretty quickly. So I would highly suggest having clear containers for seed storage. You don't have to, but I think there's a benefit to it to visually see them. I think it also helps to keep them somewhere where you'll notice them once a day or so. I have a seed storing area, and then I also have some storage on top of the fridge for some of my saved seeds. Okay, also if this video is edited weird and has a bunch of jumps in it, just know that I'm probably telling a child to please be quiet. And that's why it's been edited that way. I have 3 little boys running around. So I was saying that I think it's important to have your seeds stored somewhere where you're going to see them pretty regularly. I think it keeps it on the top of your mind and reminds you to check and see if there's something you should be planting. Reminds you to check your spreadsheet and see if you're on schedule. It's just, especially in the winter time here, just kind of makes you think of the garden and reminds you that, even these tiny little seeds are going to grow into an amazing garden. So, you want to try to keep them in the proper temperature, somewhere somewhat cool, and out of sunlight if possible. That'll help them store longer. So trying to find a location like that in your house would be beneficial. It's also important to be flexible, and if you choose a seed system and it's just not working out for you after a while, be prepared to change it. Or maybe a system might work for a few years and then you outgrow it. So don't think you have to just stick with one system forever. You can try something out. Again, don't invest too much. Get some cheaper containers and see what works for you. And I've had seeds for, I don't know, maybe not quite a decade, but about that long. And I've gone through several different ways of storing them. And I might have, in the future, different systems for storing that make more sense, especially if I keep going with the seed saving. I think it's try something. Don't be worried that you don't get it perfect. As you work with the system, you'll learn if it's a good fit for you or not. And you might have a different set of containers for edibles or for florals or early starts or late starts, and that's okay. It's what works best for how you plant your garden. And with that, I think I've gone on quite long enough, and I probably have to go make lunch now, so I'm gonna sign off, and I'm gonna try to do another video about the spreadsheet that I use and how that helps me, and that's changed over the years as well. So I hope you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for more.